Michael, what are you doing?
I don't know. I find this disgusting, but I can't help myself.
Good.
Good? You think this is good?
Yeah, it's a genuine game merge. It's something your game character was born to do. Don't fight it.
I'm fighting it. But it isn't doing me any good. Oh my God. This looks awfully familiar. You sure this is okay?
Yeah, it should be okay. Do you have that bridge in real life?
Absolutely not. My teeth are perfect. Demoness Allegra Geller.
That's not funny.
YouTubers, okay, I'll be reading some excerpts from a book I've been reading when I've had a chance to. I haven't been able to get past the last quarter this week, but this is really important stuff I think that needs to be put out there and exposed. I've tried in the past to find extreme knowledge on MK Ultra mind control and Monarch slave mind control, but a lot of the stuff out there seems to be vague and skims over the brutality that goes on with mind control and exactly how it works. So I thought it would be a good idea for me to make a couple of videos, or maybe a few videos on this. As I say, I'll be reading a lot of excerpts from the book to try and get you a good picture of what actually happens under the influence of these programs, because they're so evident now. They've been pushed forth onto society. You only have to look to the charts, and a lot of these Hollywood actors, and especially the child actors, that's when they get them when they're really young. So anyway, let's start. This book tends to devote more emphasis to Illuminati programming, which is the highest level of programming. The Nazis are known to have studied ancient Egyptian texts in their mind control research. The records and secrets of the generational Illuminati bloodlines are very well guarded secrets. And we know how tricky these elites are. So what is mind control? How is it mastered? And for what purpose? And this is what I'll try and go deep using this book on. So next time you go watch a video about mind control where they don't like explain on a deep level, you will have a total understanding of it. That's what I'm going to try and do for you guys. So the intelligence agencies such as MI6 began investigating these mind control techniques early this century, but their records have been routinely destroyed and tampered with. There are some survivors and professionals who know that the British used programmed trauma-based DID agents in World War I. In the 1920s, the Germans also were aware that the human mind has a variety of ego-psychological states rather than one unified mind, which they termed sub-Jekyll's psychology, or the psychology of having correlated psychological states rather than the concept of a single ego. The Germans and Italians under the Nazi and fascist governments began to do serious scientific research into trauma-based mind control. Under the auspices of Kaiser Wilhelm Medical Institute in Berlin and thousands of other hapless victims, Himmler supervised genetic research. The Nazi research records were confiscated by the Allies and are still classified. So what I was led to believe through school, when they actually did mention World War II, because it was a taboo subject. You weren't allowed to mention Hitler. If you mentioned Hitler, you were banned from the classroom. That's how it kind of worked in England. But yeah, we were led to believe that what they were doing in the Nazi concentration camps, because they had all this apparent hatred towards Jews, was torturing them because they were sick, perverse psychopaths. But in reality, from research that I've actually done, they were experimenting on the victims to push them as far as they could through trauma to see how much trauma they could inflict before they died. That's what they were actually doing, plus some other seedy stuff that I won't be going into. Right. The Illuminati have developed secrecy to a fine art. They train their people in the art of secrecy from time they were born. Most everything they done is done orally. They are trained not to write rituals and other things down. There is a very little paper trail left by the Illuminati. We can say that, as I like to think of all of us guys, as kind of like detectives, because a lot of this dot-to-dot connections is pretty much detective work. The creation of slaves with photographic memories facilitates this secrecy, where you only have to look to NASA and the people that work for NASA to know that these guys just didn't come off the conveyor belt of intelligent babies being born. There's something being manipulated there. That's evident to me. Right. But this book is not about how they managed to keep their trauma-based demonic mind control a secret. They have managed only to keep it a secret to the general public. They have not been able to completely cover up the millions of wasted lives that their programming has ruined. For many years, they were able to shut up and quietly discard their program multiples by labelling them paranoid schizophrenics. But therapists are now correctly identifying these people as program multiples and are not only diagnosing them better, but giving them better treatment. After Candy Jones's husband deprogrammed her enough that she could participate in writing a book exposing some of what they had done to her, the secret was out. See The Control of Candy Jones, Hypnotism and the CIA by Donald Bain. Ever since then, the intelligence agencies and the Illuminati have been carrying out damage control. Their biggest damage control campaign has enlisted the power of Hollywood and the controlled media. This campaign is known as the False Memory Syndrome campaign. Well, that's what I was touching on before when I said you only have to look to the charts and Hollywood actors, especially the child actors, because these mind control victims are everywhere now. They've been put into society since the Nazis successfully found that cut-off point through controlling the perfect, total mind control slave. So, this is what you're seeing now. Alter. Our usage is trying to follow the programmer's usage of this word. A dissociated part of the mind, which has a separate identity and is given cue codes by the mind control programmers to trigger that dissociated part of the mind to come to the front of the mind. The alter's identity may be a gem, rock, a tape recorder, a poodle, a kitten, a dove, a horse, or even think of itself as a person or a demon. It all depends on its programming. An alter is different from an alter fragment in that the alter fragment is a dissociated part of the mind which serves only as a single purpose. The programmers will give an alter a history and ensure that shadow alters will provide a full range of accessible emotions. Sometimes the distinctions between alters and alter fragments is vague. But examples from the two ends of the spectrum are easy to tell apart. We use the word alter in this book to conform to what the programmer's charts are encoding as alters. A typical Mengele created grid would be a grid of 13 by 13 principal A-coded alters, which is 169 principal alter personalities. In Illuminati systems, ceremonial alters will consist of 3 alters placed on a spinning pedestal together into triad goddesses or gods. Boom, boom, boom. That means that an A-coded alter on some levels is actually 3 alters spinning together, which must be locked in place to communicate with, and then rotated to communicate to the other 2. Now this is what I'm talking about, going deep, and we will be going deeper. And on the understanding of the terms again, this time beta. This is the second Greek letter and it represents the sexual models and sexual alters that the programmers are creating. The primitive part of the brain is involved in this type of programming. An early sexual abuse event will be used to anchor this programming. These sexual slaves will develop sexual abilities that are far beyond what the public is aware is even possible. They also receive the worst kind of abuse, far beyond what most people's imagination can picture. Beta alters generally see themselves as cats. What the fuck happened with Anna Nicole Smith? You know, there's a lot of things about other people that spring to mind who are just blatant under the mind control program, and when I read through this book and the graphic details of what they go through, it's hard to not have a tear in your eye because it is horrendous. Right, more terms explained. Delta. This is a Greek letter shaped like a triangle, which symbolises change in calculus. It has become a favourite word to use in naming things for the occult elite. Delta teams are 4-person assassination teams, which usually are secret teams. Delta Forces is an elite unit that operates under the Joint Chiefs of Staff that is made up of highly trained, total mind-controlled slaves. Delta models are slaves whose sole purpose is assassination. Delta alters are alters within an Illuminati alter system which are programmed to be assassins. These alters are often some of the deepest in the system and in a genie bottle or with umbrella programming. Now, didn't Rihanna sing a song about umbrellas, and Christina Aguilera was unleashed on us with a song about a message in a genie in a bottle? Was it Genie in a Bottle? Yeah. All refer to this. And you can see, once the Nazis mastered the art of trauma-based mind control, they started unleashing this into society through the CIA. Hence why there was a lot of assassination hits during the late 60s, Martin Luther King, JFK, for 2 examples. Right, back to the book. Right. The Monarch program is based upon Illuminati and Nazi goals to create a master race in part through genetics. Now, we hear this a lot. If knowledge can be passed genetically, which it is, then it is important that parents be found that can pass the correct knowledge onto those victims selected for the Monarch mind control. That's actually something I didn't know. And my dad is, how can I put it, an illiterate, an atheist, a closed-minded, old-fashioned guy, the complete opposite of me. So I didn't get that passed on to us. The primary important factor for the trauma-based mind control is the ability to dissociate. Dissociation is extremely important for them to split the mind. It was discovered that this ability is passed genetically from generation to generation. American Indian tribes who are traumatic ritual dancers and who would wait motionless for hours when hunting, children of fakirs in India who would sleep on a bed of nails or walk on hot coals, children of yogis, those skilled in yoga who would have total control over their body in trance, Tibetan Buddhists, children of the Dawn, Bizango and other groups have a good ability to dissociate. Now I can remember, let's scroll down here, I can remember a video I watched about how the Holocaust actually happened, and it mentioned Hitler had struck a deal with the Tibetans for all this ancient knowledge and technology and intelligence, and in exchange they wanted 1 million of God's children sacrificed, them being the Jews. Just putting that out there, not saying I believe that, it's just an interesting idea. I kind of sprung to mind after I read that passage of the book. The Illuminati families and European occultists went to India and Tibet to study occultism and Eastern philosophy. These Europeans learned yoga, tantric yoga, meditations and trances and other methods to dissociate. These skills are passed on to their children via genetics. A test is run when the children are about 18 months old to determine if they can dissociate enough to be selected for programming or not. Mind control slaves are created for different purposes. hierarchy or non-hierarchy purposes. The Illuminati create mind control slaves who are to function within the Illuminati hierarchy. These slaves will usually have their